Okay, this is a less than ideal frame, but we're gonna go with it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Lake Uthaya. I am a former Femina Miss India state winner. I am a pageant coach, a content creator, and a model. And in this video, as you can see from the title, we are going to be discussing the top 10 question and answers that the contestants in the top 10 of Miss Universe gave, the winner of which was Miss Ria Singha. She is going to represent us in Mexico. Before I move on, I quickly want to say that I have started a new brand called Electra. It has its own Instagram page where I exclusively put pageant information. So make sure you check that out. Along with that, all of my other media handles are also in the description. If you want to book a session with me, you can always send an email. That's also in the description. Like every other video of mine, this video, of course, has a structure. Here are the chapters. Here, I'm going to take you through what actually an onstage Q&A is and how it differs from a personal interview. We are going to review the top 10 question and answers, see what they did well, see what worked, see what didn't, see what can be improved. The first difference is that in a personal interview, it's a more intimate setting. They are trying to understand your journey, your personality, and your answers can very much revolve around you. Whereas in an onstage Q&A, you are not just representing yourself. It's a much broader audience. You're probably representing your state, your country, and you're inspiring a global audience. So you need to make sure that your answers are inspiring and more holistic in nature. Holistic answers basically mean that they need to be relatable to everybody. Any vision that you're providing or any solution that I'm providing shouldn't solely rely on what you would do, how you think, and how you would proceed with it, but more about how it would bring an impact overall. Your delivery and cadence is extremely important. Cadence, for the people who don't know, means the modulation of your voice. So you need to make sure that you are enunciating, which means speaking very clearly. You are projecting confidence on stage and you are maintaining your nerves. So you have to bring that mix of calmness as well as charisma when you are delivering your onstage Q&A. This is the place where you practice to time your answers as compared to a personal interview where you can go on and on about your journey. Here you need to wrap things up between 30 to 40 seconds max. In this edition of Miss Universe India, there was no timer as far as I could tell, but you need to practice keeping a timer and making sure you use a certain kind of model which talks about the question, addresses what the solution is, as well as brings your own personal opinion, all in that time because the pressure is higher. Let's quickly start reviewing the top 10 question and answers. But before we go ahead, as a pageant contestant who's been there, done that, I would like to tell you that what you see on stage is not exactly how the girls are proceeded to the next round. So if you thought someone did really well in their evening gown and did not make it to, let's say, the top 20, that's probably because their personal interview didn't go well. Maybe they had some issues with the organization and the contracts that were made, and so on and so forth.
Do you believe the Miss Universe platform can be used to raise awareness about pressing environmental issues in India?
So it's not the responsibility of our nation, but it's the responsibility of the whole world to take care of the environment. And our platform is the most prestigious platform. So environmental crisis going on around in the world needs to be taken care of. And I think through the platform we should spread the message that we need to take care of our climate crisis and environmental crisis as well. Thank you.
So let's talk about the body language here. It is not very ideal. It's very clearly visible that she is nervous and there were no expressions. And I think this was a great place to showcase leadership and talk about what she would personally do. And her answer was very broad by saying that it's not just the responsibility of the country, but the world. But the question specifically said, in India, what are the changes that you would make? So I think that she could have really taken care of her nerves because it's very clear that she is nervous. And there's a repetitive use of the word platform, which can be avoided. The question loosely translated is, if you win tonight, what would you do for environment? This answer felt like it was a lot of beating around the bush, but like I did not see the crux. Here's what an ideal answer would look like. I would suggest you either start with a strong sentiment about how environment is going down a really terrible rabbit hole because of our actions, and then go ahead with how Miss Universe as a platform gives you the opportunity to amplify your voice. Then go ahead by taking a personal experience by saying, I've personally been working with an NGO, with a Rotaract Club, having my own advocacy. See, this is why having an advocacy is really important, because you are not going to be answering in general if you actually know what the crux of the issue is. And then I think finally you could end with a quote that says something about saving the nature and keeping things green. And I think that would have just made it simple, structured, and to the point. As this is the classroom, it's my job to also give you my perspective of what the ideal answer would be. So this is what I had written. Make sure you take a screenshot of this and you could actually use this in your upcoming Q&As.
India has a rich cultural heritage. How can we preserve and promote it in the face of globalization?
I believe that India is a very civilized and diverse country, and its diversity around the globe is and the culture about India is what we are known for. But as we see that India is cultured, but also we are stepping into a new generation. So it is important to carry our culture alongside and also having the essence of modernized culture. And this is what I think about it. Thank you so much.
Coming to body language improvements, I think she's wearing a beautiful cape. So I think her hand should definitely have been on the waist to actually let that show. It took me a while to actually figure out where her other hand was. I think there was a little jugalbandi that was being done between the host and her. If the host is placing the mic, you can just correct it and not hold it, because at a certain point there were like two hands. And because she was not keeping her hand on her waist, it was just flowing around, because of which she kind of claws it towards the end, and this is ideally not how you should be holding a mic. Here are some key improvements I think she could do in this answer. Number one, there is a lot of repetition in the word culture. And this is very normal, right? When we are answering, there is a certain word that kind of sticks in our head and we use it over and over again, except to an audience, it just sounds repetitive. And the question basically talks about globalization. You remember we learned this in social studies, globalization, privatization. So globalization is when the globe kind of opened up for all the other cultures to interact with each other, for different businesses and industries to then work together. And the core of this is to actually acknowledge that globalization has caused our culture to also be spread across to others, but at the same time, we are also inculcating a lot of Western culture. And in the end, she just ends by saying, yeah, so this is what I think about it, not a strong way to end it. You never say that. You need to know when you are ending, rather than the answer taking you and you realizing, oh, I think that's all I have to say. Archana had a really great chance to talk about where she was, because this was held in Rajasthan, and Rajasthan is very rich in culture and heritage. So this is an ideal answer that I thought would work really well for her.
What is your personal definition of beauty, and how do you believe it differs from the societal standards?
Thank you so much for your question, sir. I think this is a really incredible question, and I want to just describe a quote to answer it. One day, may we not be judged by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. This is a quote. Thank you. This is a quote by Martin Luther King Jr., and it's one that I heard a lot growing up. But when I was younger, something that I struggled with was colorism. I was not considered beautiful due to my dusky skin or savli skin. Every time I would meet extended family, friends, I would be told, "Arey, color thoda down hai." And initially it made me feel really unconfident about myself. But as I've grown, I've realized that beauty is so much more than skin deep. Beauty is about your character. It is about your resilience. It is about your growth. And when I realized these things, I saw the beauty within me, and I am so grateful to be standing here in front of all of you today with all these amazing contestants with me on stage and all the girls that have worked so, so hard behind me. So thank you so much for this honor. Thank you for helping me see how beautiful I am as a result of being here. Thank you.
I mean, of course, there are structural improvements, but let's talk about what went well here. And if I was a judge behind, I would be very impressed with this answer, and I'll tell you why. 4 things that really worked for me. Number 1, using a quote. It was really nice. It was relevant. It was by Martin Luther King. So a lot of people know that this is a legitimate quote. Secondly, she touches base upon her personal story, which is really nice. I always do tell students that when you have a chance, try to bring in a personal story to actually talk about why that topic matters to you. I like that she mentions that there is a transition. She doesn't just throw herself a pity party by saying that, oh, I was considered dull and I was not considered beautiful. But she actually says how, as she grew, her mindset grew and she realized what beauty means to her and how it has changed from it more than being just skin deep. And I love that there's a sense of gratitude through the whole thing. I like that she thanks everyone, she acknowledges the girls behind. It's very nice. Here's where I feel like the answer fell short. She really got carried away by the first half of the question and did not answer the second half. She's spoken about what her perception of beauty is, but she hasn't said how it differs from what the societal standards are. Societal standards don't just talk about being dusky is not beautiful and fair is beautiful, right? There are many layers to it, and I feel like she didn't address it at all. I do feel like her personal story was a little overextended. It's, like I said in the beginning, important to bring a touch of personal story to it, but you can't go on and on about what your relatives said and how you felt about it and how you grew up to do a certain thing. It just felt very stretched for the limited amount of time that you get on stage. There is a lack of inclusivity. I feel like it was very internal, and like I said in a Q&A, you have the ability to inspire so many people, especially young girls looking up. So she could have used herself as an example to actually send an inspiring message across rather than just making it all about her and how she's thankful and how she feels beautiful. It felt more like a speech and less like an answer. Having said that, I would definitely get her to proceed to the next round just because I felt really great about it and the feeling is what counts. But structurally, here is what I think an ideal answer based off what she said could be like.
How would you approach the challenge of reducing plastic waste in India?
Thank you so much for your question, sir. I believe that we live in a generation where we are striving for technological advancement so much, we lag behind what has been taught. It's very natural for kids to be taught that we have to run against Marx. We have been learning about environmental change for the longest time, and yet we are still facing the crisis. Why? Because the kids are taught that you have to score marks and not be practical about it. So I think our first approach is hell more conversation about it. Approach our kids in a different way, that we have to act on it more than just learn in our books. And that is the first step on how we tackle environmental crisis and plastic wastage. Thank you so much.
Okay, I like how confident Daisy is. She clearly is someone who's come back really strong from last year. But here are a few things that I feel were lacking in this answer. The first one being that she places a lot of importance on the scoring system, which could easily just have been like a fleeting point, because I feel like the main crux of the question, which is how to reduce plastic waste in India, is lost. You're talking about things that probably can change from the beginning. So probably a new education system where people are told to do things practically. But what about the plastic waste that already exists? I don't see any actionable solution. I also don't see a personal story. This was a great chance for her to speak about her advocacy or about her working with any underprivileged institutions or anything that talks about climate change or environmental waste, and ideally does not have direct solutions. The ideal structure would be as follows. I do think that she could open really strong by actually addressing plastic usage and its problems in India. I would suggest that she would talk about her personal connection with it and how she thinks that this is actually been a major cause of climate crisis. She can then talk about how Miss Universe platform would actually enable her to speeden up the process of reducing plastic waste in India. She could have a solution oriented approach and end with a bang.
If you were to win Miss Universe India, what would be your advocacy project and how would you implement it?
As a college student, I worked on a documentary film over the atrocities faced by the transgender people. And as soon as I entered their premises, looking at the lack of basic sanitation and food facilities disheartened me. So, if given a chance to do an advocacy, I would really want to make sure that they are able to stand on their own 2 feet so that they can earn their own bread and butter. Maybe by opening a small cafe where I'll employ them so that they don't have to beg. Because I really believe that इज्जत का एक निवाला किसी भी भीख के महाभोग को मार देता है.
Here are a few things I thought worked really well in this answer. Number one, she sounded very passionate about it. She does take her personal experience with the short film that she made and with how she's seen the society, and her solution is very clear that she wants to help the transgender community. Bam, you lock in that answer. Good. I like that her delivery was very confident. There was no filler words, there was no stammering, it was just very concise. I love that there's a cultural connection. इज्जत का एक निवाला किसी भी भीख के महाभोग को मार देता है, which loosely translates to the amount of respect that you can get is way bigger than any charity that you can do in the form of food, which connected with the audience because it was in the North India. Here are a few things I think she could have improved. Number one, her solution seems a little too narrow. She says, maybe I'll just open a cafe. But as a Miss Universe, there is no maybe. You 100% are going to do that. And every time you answer, it needs to come from a place of whether I win this crown or whether I don't. This issue matters to me. And this advocacy is not something that I've taken up just because I'm doing Miss Universe, but it's something that I genuinely believe in. So even if I didn't get this platform, these are the things that I would do. So a maybe, and if I got a chance, you will be getting a chance because you make those chances and they're looking for girls like that, right? So I would suggest for her to talk a little bigger in terms of maybe multiple cafes across the world rather than just maybe opening a single one. The transgenders form a larger part of the LGBTQIA community. So whenever you're talking about that group, I would suggest that you have more knowledge and keep it more wide and vast, because if you're talking about inclusivity, at least just make it inclusive to everyone. And I feel like it lacks global relevance. You are here to win a crown and eventually the Miss Universe crown, right? So I would suggest to open up your thoughts and open up your answers a little more to something where you can say, I would start off small, but I would eventually expand it so that it can be all across the world. And that would be more relevant.
How would you inspire young women in India to embrace their unique beauty and pursue their dreams?
As someone who has returned to pageantry, and even after achieving somewhat a lot in the commercial field and working in television commercials, I didn't let my dream die. And I kept pursuing pageantry, and here I am, after so many tries, in the top 10, speaking my heart. And as a professional badminton world champion's daughter, who had won the world championship last year in his almost late 50s, I would say that you can achieve your dreams whenever. So don't stop chasing them. Believe in them and take risks. Because if you don't throw the dice, you'll never get a 6. Thank you.
I love this answer. I love it so much. I think it really was clean, clear. It hit the mark where it had to. And it had all the good stuff, right? She speaks about her personal experience as well as her family connection and how she's not just inspiring people through her story, but she's also inspired by her father, who happens to be a world badminton champion. I can see that has a lot of grace and conviction when she's speaking, and she ends with a motivational message. It's great. Like, it locks things in. If you don't roll the dice, you'll never get a 6. I love it. But here is where I think the whole answer was not understood. The question says, how would you inspire young women to embrace their beauty and pursue their dreams? And I think the entire thing was just focused on dreams. The first part of the question just was never addressed. I also feel this was a lot on her personal message. She just spoke about the fact that she has done commercials, the fact that she is coming back to pageantry after a while, the fact that her father basically inspired her. Again, keeping it very enclosed to her in her circle. And I think this was a chance to really tap upon like the unique beauty that you should be able to embrace and then go ahead with the motivation. Ideally, it was an opportunity to speak about how Indian women should be able to accept their beauty regardless of a lot of societal pressures put on them and continue to pursue their dreams, and how the way they look is not something that should define how far they can go.
What is your stance on climate change? And what steps would you take to promote sustainable practices in India?
I would like to start this question with a quote that says, "When the last fish is killed and the last tree cut, that is when man would realize that we cannot eat money." I believe in the face of industrialization, we have lost so many forests to deforestation, and we're losing out on our environment. It is very, very important to realize that no rights matter unless and until we're not alive. Humans are required for human rights. Nature is required to keep us alive. And I would like to promote climate justice through this platform by raising my voice about the things that actually matter, and by doing my part in contributing to making a change when it comes to climate. I would go out and I would make sure that I use this platform to clean our environment and to do my part and to spread awareness so that people could do theirs, because all of us together can really make it happen. Thank you.
A lot of good things in this answer. I think this was one of the most well-structured answers I have heard up until now. I love that there is a call to action in the end where she says, together we all can do this. Very important, right? It speaks about cohesiveness. It gives leadership qualities. There's a very clear purpose. Like, she talks about how she's going to use this platform to actually spread awareness and reach out to the causes that actually matter. I really like she starts with a quote which again solidifies the answer, and there is a lot of conviction when she speaks about no human rights that we fight so hard for will matter if there is no nature to protect us. Wow, I'm impressed. I actually have no notes. I mean, from where I'm coming, I think that she did really well, and I'm very happy that she made it to the next round.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure tonight, who would it be and why?
I'll have to give it a thought, because there are so many people that inspire me. But I think Ahilya Bai Holkar, who was my national costume inspiration, would definitely have to be one. My advocacy is about skilling up individuals. Youngsters who have so many skills, yet they don't have the power of communication, which is why they miss out on the opportunity of success in what they truly love. That is where Ahilya Bai Holkar was powerful enough 300 years ago and powered through, brought women up at a time when feminism wasn't even a thing, and she made it happen for her and the women around her. So I would love to choose Ahilya Bai Holkar. Thank you.
Thank you. Great answer.
I hear the judge say, thank you, great answer. I think this was a great answer in terms of personal branding as well. She starts strong. This felt like a conversation which was great. She says, I would have to give it a thought. And I'm like, okay, that's nice. You don't always have to be structured with A, B, C, D. You can go ahead by actually keeping it natural, and people connect with it better. The judges listen to you better when you speak like that. I really like that she drew in the attention to her national costume. She was weaving her answer together. Nothing fell dispersed from each other. Everything was interspersed. So she talks about why she chooses that historical figure. She then talks about her national costume, which was also an inspiration for the same. And then she moves on to talk about her advocacy, which is also skilling up people, which is why she again chooses Ahilya Bai Holkar, because that woman did this hundreds of years ago and had the same purpose, which was empowering women. I love a well-knitted answer. Nowhere would you ever feel, "Arey, but ye kyun bola usne? Wo to wahan pe kuch aur bol rahi thi." Everything was stitched together really well, which is the perfect narrative style of answering, which I actually suggest to all my students, because it keeps the audience and the judges hooked, and it just ties everything together very seamlessly. I do remember when I was talking about my top 12 standouts, I was very impressed by Ria because I'd watched her speak and I thought, oh my God, what a phenomenal speaker. What a great command over her language. Her thought process is so clear. And at 19 years of age, that's insane. And I mean, so we don't have to talk about the fact that she's actually a really great speaker and has a great voice and a great command. The only note I feel like we could give was she could speak a little more about Ahilya Bai Holkar, because the question literally says, who is this historical figure? You'd have to have dinner with if you could, and why. And I feel like talking a little more about Ahilya Bai Holkar's achievements, a little more in detail, that would kind of give more weight to this answer. But nevertheless, I think this was a good answer.
What challenges do women in India face today, and what steps can be taken to empower them?
Thank you for the question, sir. I think the challenges that we are facing most is fear, and it's been escalating since the past few months over the mounting number of assault and rape cases that are being reported. And it breaks my heart to think of the many others that have gone silenced. And I believe that if I can take this platform and encourage women to speak up, to stand for justice, and to be true and strong to themselves, I believe we could truly bring justice and make a better and safer world for the women in India. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 39.
I really wish they stopped saying candidate number and actually took their names. These girls are in the top 10. I mean, the least you can do is call them by their names. But anyway, here are the strengths in the answer. Number 1, I really like her confidence and the fact that she speaks with cadence. And number 2, I like that there's an emotional touch to it. She says, it breaks my heart to see the issues that are happening. And that kind of draws the audience and the judges in, because she's touching base upon how she feels about it, making it personal. She shows awareness. That's very important. She's not given some general answer about why women right now in the 21st century have done as much as men, which is why we also deserve safety. It's not that generic. She speaks about assault, she speaks about rape, she speaks about how it's been mounting up and how women should speak up against it, which shows awareness, which is important. She does, in the end, speak about a call to action, which again, it's called CTA, right? If you're a marketing student, you know this. It's important to have a CTA, especially in an onstage answer. And she says that if, women can speak up and they will be able to bring justice to this. And that's nice. That again feels empowering. Here are areas for improvement. Number 1, the focus is very narrow. She just speaks about assaults, but the question says, what are the issues that women face in India? And there are a lot more. There is economic inequality, there is domestic abuse, there is lack of education, 100% gender discrimination. And these are things that, of course, not everything can be spoken like a textbook answer, but mentioning them kind of makes this answer a lot more holistic. The solution did not seem very concrete. Yes, women should speak up when an assault takes place. But that's not the only reason that assaults are continuing to take place, right? We have to talk about the fact that the system that revolves around safety is not very strong. The punishment isn't as strong for the people who commit these assaults, which is why they continue to happen. And on a deeper level, not every woman who goes through this can just go out and speak up. There are so many repercussions to it. And more than that, there is something called a trauma response, right? There are a lot of times, if you're a woman, you understand, if we've all been assaulted, unfortunately, in our lives, may it be through hooting, may it be through catcalling, may it be through inappropriate touches and stares. And there are a lot of times we realize something bad happened much after the event happened because our brain goes into a freeze motion. So I don't think just speaking up is going to solve this issue. The solutions can go in terms of community reform, better legal structures, and certain educational initiatives that can be taken to make sure that something as small as good touch or bad touch, that girls and boys both should be taught from a very young age. And just stuff like that, that was a little more concrete. And I do suggest this to students that when you are talking about an issue that is really serious, there needs to be a balanced tone. You can talk about how it's saddening and how it's traumatizing and how it's threatening and depressing. In the end, you need to end it with hope. You need to end it by saying that, if we do this, I can see that. Because let's be honest, India is to an extent at least trying to be safer than it was before, right? These issues are no longer just brushed up against the carpet saying, "Arey, ye to hota hi rehta hai." There are actually steps that are being taken to make sure that there is safety, which is why your answers, especially as a beauty queen and as a spokesperson, needs to end with that of hope.
What are your career aspirations and how do you envision Miss Universe India helping you achieve them?
I belong to the health industry. I have studied dietetics and I have spent a lot of time in the hospital with patients, literally fighting every single day for their lives. And that is what has made me choose my advocacy, which is to promote health, hygiene and nutrition amongst the youth, especially children, because I believe that basic healthcare should be a necessity. It's not a luxury, and everyone deserves to have the basic healthcare in their life. So if I happen to win Miss Universe India tonight, I would use my voice to raise as much awareness as I can to make this world a better place with the health education. Thank you so much.
Healthcare is a right and not a luxury. That stayed with me. Let's start with her composure and her presentation, right? She seems like she's standing tall. Her hands are placed in a way where they are not going to be fiddling anytime in the middle of the answer. And I'm just going to appreciate her look. I think she looks the most unique. She's got that Lara Datta hair that's happening along with the red gown. And she speaks about her personal career. She says that she's working in the healthcare industry, and which is why this is the advocacy that she's taking. Very nice. She speaks about the health and nutrition of young children and the youth. It's very concise. So there is no broad perspective where you feel like, "Arey yaar, ye to sab bolte hain." It's very concise because she resonates deeply with it. And there's compassion in this answer. She's not just trying to give an answer because she wants to sound impactful, but it's coming from a personal place, and you can say. Here are a few areas for improvement. Number one, I do feel like the command over her English language could have been stronger. I 100% understand that as Indians, we have a mother tongue influence, right? Because we have so many different languages and dialects. But I do think that her answer could have been a lot more impactful. She could talk about how she can tie her aspirations as to what she wants to do in terms of nutrition and fitness and everything, and how Miss Universe platform ke through she is going to be able to implement it. I think that is something that she did not speak about. And I do think she could have very vaguely outlined how she's going to put this ahead, right? We know what she feels and what is the advocacy that she wants to use, but talking about how she plans on implementing them could be something that could have been added. Here's an ideal answer that I have put down so that you can take a screenshot. All right, now here are some quick observations that I have made. Number one, I think in terms of the question, I understand top 10 do not get similar questions, but I realized there was no top 5. You know, as a pageant system, usually they have a common question in the top 5 so that we can actually gauge them from a common platform. Here, some of the questions were philosophical, some of them were technical, and some of them had just had it harder than the others. For example, if you're asked who's your inspiration, you can probably talk a lot better than asking how to reduce plastic usage and how to make India a better place for the environment. It just doesn't match, and I feel like there should have been a top 5 common ground question. But I also do understand that the program dragged really long. Apparently it was like a 5-hour program, so I understand why they wanted to cut short on it, but I don't think this is where they should have cut short on. If they could have rounds for 50 people ke swimwear and evening gown, I'm pretty sure jab end mein aata jata, this is what holds the most value, right? So I think कि top 5 का common question answer round कर सकते थे. I think it was necessary. I mean, a suggestion to get hosts also is that the host should be someone on stage who's a lot more calming to the contestants standing. They cannot be fiddling with the mic, you know, not being sure ki whether you should give the mic to someone or whether you should hold the mic. And the contestant, she has to pick up the chair, she has to read out the judge's name correctly, and then she has to think of the answer. And amidst all that, if there's a lot of confusion happening here, it just makes it harder for the contestant. Spoken enough about body language, so for the people who are watching this, please make sure you are standing right and erect and you are using your posture in a way which is actually enhancing your outfit and not like slouching down with it. A lot of filler words. Listen, let me say this once again, that pausing in between answers is fine. If I want to say, which is why I would like to make sure that everybody in this country understands the importance of, it's okay, that pause was fine, rather than saying, and I want to say that everyone in this country makes sure that that everyone goes, you get it, like don't do the pause, breathe, speak the right words. You don't always have to say thank you for the question. I feel like you're eating onto the time. You can just say thank you, because in the end you're again saying thank you. Why are you sandwiching your answer with a thank you for the question and thank you again? Maybe you can start off by saying thank you. Or maybe if you really are looking for time, you repeat that question. If, let's say, what challenges do women in India face today and what steps can be taken to empower them? You say, well, the challenges that the women in India face today range from, and then you go ahead. You repeated that, right? You took like a good 5 seconds to repeat that, and your brain up until that point has framed an answer, rather than straight up starting with your answer or by saying thank you for the question. If you want to take question and answer sessions with me, I do offer one-on-one sessions. You can always send in an email or you can send in a DM on my newly opened Instagram page called Electra, and I will make sure I respond to you. This was a long video, so I'm not going to push this any further. I'm going to quickly wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a notebook and a pen and you were writing things down, because this is free information that a lot of people will charge you for. If you obviously want to know how you can answer questions better and want to understand what your picadillos are or what are the things that you personally need improvement in, that can only be done through a session. This was of course more general and something that will be informative to you in the future. Make sure you are also watching my YouTube shorts, because that does not take a break like long format videos. So I'm constantly putting out a lot of informative information out there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.